Many of us have goals that we'll never achieve, goals that never get to see the daylight outside of being encapsulated in our skulls. But my friend, that doesn't have to be you, because after today's video, you're going to be equipped with 3 tools from therapy that I use with my clients in my clinical practice to help them achieve their goals. So whatever goal you've had, it's time to revisit it. Whatever goal you've left on the shelf, let's bring it out, let's dust it off, and let's see if we can revisit it, but this time differently, because this time with a toolkit from therapy. Albert Hubbard once said that many people fail in life not because they lack ability, not because they lack intelligence or the brains or the capacity to achieve something, but because they've never organized their energy around a single goal. Imagine what your life could be like if you organized your energy, if you let your energy revolve around certain goals and you don't let everything else sap you of that energy. Imagine what your health could look like. Imagine the state your body could be in, or your organs, or whatever else. Imagine your relationships, what they could look like, what a thriving social network could look like. Imagine what your hobbies and spare time could look like if you're really enjoying your life. And imagine what your career could look like and your bank account if you were able to organize your energy around a goal in all of these life domains. You see, the thing about learning how to achieve goals and how to set goals is that it's a master skill, because learning that skill allows you to master all the other domains of your life. The problem we encounter when we try to achieve our goals is that many of us fail to be consistent in moving toward that goal. Even when we do know what we want, even when we do have clarity on our goals and we try to organize our energy around that goal, we struggle to show up consistently. And as a psychologist, I want to offer the piece of advice that there might be psychological blocks for that. There might be psychological reasons why it's difficult to consistently work toward your goal. And I'd like to give you 3 possibilities and 3 tools from therapy to help you. The first is that your identity might not be aligned with the goal. The second is that you might actually not believe that you can achieve that goal somewhere deep at the back of your mind. But the third reason is that you might not be able to use failure as feedback just yet in your own life. So if you want to move toward your goals, start to consider those 3 possibilities. And let's start with identity and goals. If you want to conquer any goal, you have to make that goal a part of your identity. Lao Tzu once said, "When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be." So if you're trying to achieve a new goal, it might be the case that you need to let go of certain parts of yourself so that you can develop the parts of yourself that will achieve that goal. It may be the case that there's a specific version of you that is within you, just like a tree is within an acorn. There may be a specific version of yourself that needs to be tapped into to be able to achieve that goal. But to get there, you have to be willing to let go of what you think you are. Making your goals a part of your identity is a surefire way to achieve your goals, because our behavior is stronger when it's driven by a sense of identity, when it's driven by a sense of this is who I am, not just what I'm doing. So how do you immerse yourself in a new identity if you're trying to achieve a new goal? Well, it starts with immersing yourself in the kinds of things that that kind of person would do or say. The person who has the identity of, let's say, a cyclist. What magazines do they read? What spaces do they hang out in? What equipment do they buy? That sort of forms that identity. You have to immerse yourself in that world as that kind of person. And it doesn't matter where you start as long as you start. I was inconsistent when I first started YouTube and trying to be a content creator because that wasn't a part of my identity just yet. I still thought of myself as a psychologist who was filming videos on the side. I didn't call myself a YouTuber or a content creator. It felt a bit strange, weird, a bit embarrassing, a bit cringy. But when I actually stepped into that identity, when I started to immerse myself in that world, I joined a community group of people creating YouTube shorts. When I bought a camera and I immersed myself in the activities of a content creator and started to use that label, when I was brave enough to do that, it became a part of my identity, and I started to create videos a bit more effortlessly because I was able to step into that new skin. So my friend, whatever goal you are trying to achieve, make sure that you step into that identity instead of staying on the periphery. The second psychological block that stops people from achieving their goals is being too afraid about thinking about how things can go wrong and then not anticipating that failure, not anticipating it and putting plans into it because you don't want to think about that. To achieve your goals, you have to get good at anticipating failure. You have to get good at predicting how things will go wrong and then anticipating that and making plans for that. That is how you achieve success in your life. Most of us have a fully functioning prefrontal cortex, this front part of the brain, that allows us to run simulations. You don't have to cross the street while a car is driving by to know that you're going to get hit. You can imagine yourself crossing and getting hit, and then you can step aside. You can choose not to cross the road. So our prefrontal cortex allows us to run simulations in our lives so that we do not have to fail. We can anticipate the failure. Most of us don't use this superpower. But how can you make use of this superpower? If you're trying to conquer your goals, write the goal down on a page and then divide the page into 2 columns. And then on the left, write down 10 ways in which things might go wrong for you in trying to achieve this goal. And then on the right side, write a preventative measure that you can put in place to accommodate the ways that things could derail. Prevention is better than cure. You need to anticipate failure. But most of us don't engage in the preventative work. So ask yourself honestly, before I pursue a goal, when I'm trying to achieve something in my life, I'm actually deliberating and planning and anticipating failure and then putting preventative measures into place. Visualizing your goals is an alternative way to anticipate failure. Research by Dr. Emily Balcetis and her research lab shows that our ability to anticipate failure can be enhanced by visualizing how things can go wrong. So you're not just thinking about it in verbal terms, you're actually visualizing trying to achieve your goal and how things could not work out for you. That visualization process affords you clues about what could go wrong, and then it helps you achieve your goals. And funny enough, most people think that if you visualize success, you'll be more likely to achieve your goals because you'll be more motivated. But the research actually shows the opposite. If you're a bit further along on your goal-striving journey, it's actually better to visualize failure, not to visualize success. So that was the second psychological reason people struggle to achieve their goals. It's because they don't anticipate failure because they don't want to think about it. But the third is the ability to use failure as feedback, because you're not going to be able to avoid all forms of failure. Because we won't always be able to avoid failure, we need to learn how to use failure as feedback. Missiles are able to hit their target because they constantly correct their trajectory. They constantly get feedback, and they use that feedback to direct themselves to their target. It's the same if you're shooting a bow and arrow. If you keep shooting the arrow a bit too much to the left, you use that feedback to adjust a bit more to the right than you thought you needed to adjust, so that you can get it on the bullseye. But you have to be very attentive of where the arrow keeps going. That gives you clues as to how to succeed at shooting it. So whatever you're trying to achieve in life, whatever goal you're moving toward, make sure that you're using that failure as feedback. You're getting that feedback in and you're using that feedback to adjust course. Failure contains the clues to success, so treat failure very preciously. So that was using failure as feedback, the third psychological block that could be stopping you from achieving your goals. But I want to end this video with a quote. Many people fail in life not for a lack of ability, courage, or brains, but because they've never organized their life around a goal. Imagine what your life could be like if you organized your life around specific goals in specific domains. You need to set goals in place so that those goals can rearrange the order of your life and who you are as a person. Let the purity of having a goal wash over your life and see what becomes of it.